Hi guys, welcome back to the Drive Life channel. In today's video we're going to be talking about whether you should buy a used cheap smart car. For those of you that don't know, a lovely thing, 2 months ago now, got to be 2 months ago at least, from a very dodgy place in Birmingham, and it was very cheap, which was the only reason we bought it, to be honest. We were thinking, fuel crisis looming, what can we do, what sort of car can we get that will cut down our fuel bills, because we were spending £200 a month putting fuel in the Jeep. I was spending £300 a month putting fuel in the Volvo, and as the prices were going up, I'm so glad that we did, because it was at 150 there at that time. It's now nearly £2 a litre, so we've definitely had a good shout. So this obviously achieves 70 plus mpg. That's what it's been achieving since I've had it, and yeah, I absolutely love it. But should you buy one? Should you buy a cheap one? Got Mitzi the dog helping us out with today's video, so let's get straight into it. So like I said, this was very cheap, just over £1,000. These cars start from around that price. You can get ones that are £500, £600, but to be honest, I would steer very clear of those cars. You can see here this one's reasonable condition. It does have a few issues. It's the convertible roof doesn't work. Had an LPG system on it that didn't work when I fixed that. It had a few bulbs not working. It's not in the best shape in terms of the exterior. It looks like it's been used as a bumper car, and that's the thing with these cars. You try and ram them in all sorts of different places because they're so small. They should fit. So it's got a few scuffs and scrapes on the front here, as you can see. But overall, it's not too bad. It had no service history and one key. So in terms of a car to buy from a used dealer, probably not the best, if I'm totally honest. But fortunately, we were able to take the gamble, and it certainly paid off. So should you buy a cheap one? Well, you do get what you pay for. Now, we're very lucky in the fact that I'm quite mechanically minded. I can fix anything on the car. But these engines aren't great for longevity. This one in particular is the 0.7 litre engine, offered in the Cabrio and in the later Smarts before. I think in 2007 they all went to a Mitsubishi 1 litre engine. This is the least sort of longevity and the least good engine longevity wise. This engine normally packs up after around 80,000 miles. So if you're going to buy a cheap one, make sure with this engine, make sure that it's just make sure it's lower mileage and has been well looked after, which is something I didn't do. Actually, this has only got 44,000 when I bought it. It's now on 48,000, but yeah, it's something that you do need to consider with these cars. You need to make sure that they've got a good service history, that they've been well looked after. The 0.6 litre, which was the generation before this, 54 horsepower, that was better. That would do sort of 90 to 100,000 miles. Still not great, but then the later cars, the 1 litres, much better. They'll do sort of 100 to 130,000, and then the diesel, that's the one to get, the diesel. 0.8 litre CDI Mercedes engine. Well, it's not. It's a Mercedes developed engine for Smart. It's not Mercedes engine. But Mercedes know how to do diesels, and that one can do 250,000 miles plus. A great little engine. And definitely, I think, when this one packs up, we'll be getting one of those. Because this is just, yeah, in terms of owning a smart car, they are awesome cars. Now, like I said, the cheaper one you get, the more likely you are to have issues, and smart car parts are not cheap at the best of times. For example, if you wanted to get a sun, sort of on the hard top models, you get a glass roof and the visor that goes across to sort of shut out the lights. That's £400, so it's not cheap at all. These lights, for example, they're a few £100 because they're rare. Not many people have them on their smart car. This was a funny model. But any sort of engine parts, a rebuild kit for the engine, that's £800. You're better off almost buying another smart car. But yeah, there certainly are a lot of ways that you can fall down with these cars. Being Mercedes, there's a lot of exclusive parts, like I said. A lot of the interior parts as well are quite that was helpful, wasn't it? difficult to find or get hold of. You have to really know or be part of the community to find them. People do know certain people who can get you bits, but yeah, it's just difficult to find bits. So for example, if you want to replace your radio or with an original smart radio, they're difficult to get hold of. Any of this switch gear, if you want to put cruise control in, you have to pay £150 for a new stalk with an extra little knob on it, and then you have to pay specialists or £80 to £100 to have it coded in. Missy's loving it. So just these things, you're paying cheap money for a cheap to run car, but being Mercedes brand, you're paying Mercedes prices for all the parts, essentially. The other thing is that these have a strange gearbox. It's a classed as a semi-automatic, but it's an automatically actuated manual gearbox. It does have an automatic mode, but essentially you have a clutch like you do in a normal car or a normal manual car. You have to push up and down the gears, yet you don't have to do the clutch manually, if that makes sense. Now, like I said, if you want to, there is an option to drive in automatic as well, but it behaves very much like a manual still. The gearboxes are very slow to change, and yeah, I shall show you guys the gear stick, because this here, as you can see, you've got reverse, neutral, move it over for drive, and then up and down, and then this is the side button here that you click to make it automatic or manual, so you can swap between the two. But in terms of a cheap runabout, this thing has been absolutely fantastic. And like I said, it'll do 70 to the gallon. That's what it's been doing on my commute, which is mainly just 1A road that's straight for 20 miles. I do have to go over a bit of a mountain with a few twisty bits, but ultimately it is straight road for 10 miles, twisty mountain for a mile, and a straight road again for another 10 miles. So it's a nice easy commute for this car, and it sits really comfortably at 60 miles an hour. It's the 6-speed model, so it's very nice. It just sort of chucks into that gear on LPG, scoots along using barely, well, doesn't use any fuel at all when you're on LPG, but when you are on your actual petrol, it doesn't use any at all, like most of you will be in anyway. Other thing is, people love these things. If you tell someone you drive a smart car, they almost don't believe you. I'm not the smallest person, and they don't believe that I fit in it, but actually I do. And one of the things I love about it is its size. It's so small, yet inside you've got absolutely loads of space. Let me give you a quick tour. In here, as you can see, nice big comfy seats. My girlfriend and I sit in here, no issues. You'll notice that the footwell on the passenger side is slightly brought forward compared to the driver's side. There's a battery under there, but actually this seat is also mounted slightly further back, so you're not rubbing shoulders. Very well designed. So that person always sits with their shoulders slightly behind yours, and it works. It really does work. Now we have Otto the dog, which is Mitzi's brother, and he goes in here nicely. There's plenty of room for him in here. He's sort of he's a 1-year-old Labrador, so he's still got a bit of growing to do, but there is plenty of room. He lies across it, no issue. He'll sit up, look out the window. He likes the fact that he can look out the windscreen as well, so he'll sit here and look through the windscreen. As you can see, there's loads of room. And if I was a dog, I probably wouldn't mind. There's a chap on YouTube that I've seen who has a big Alsatian in the back of here, or a Husky. So yeah, perfect really. But what you've got is nice, easy, fillable boot space. I've managed to fit easily a weekly shop in here. If you really wanted to, you could accrue a lot of rubbish in here. You've got lots of space behind the seats as well, which is awesome. Like I said, I'm not a small person, and there's plenty of space for me to adjust my seat nicely. The only issue I find is the fact that the steering wheel can't be adjusted, so you're pretty fixed there, but just get used to it really. And on this side, obviously, you've got lots and lots of storage as well, including a drawer under the driver's seat. And one of the things I love about this is the fact that you can just park it anywhere. We're quite restricted with parking at home, despite the fact we've got 4 vehicles. So this we can literally put anywhere. So if we need a space for another vehicle, we can just park this around the corner, up the road, in between parked cars, because this will fit in a parking space, a parallel parking space, nose in, rather than parallel, if that makes sense. So it's just a really handy little thing to blast away in. And with the windows down and music on and everything like that, it's sort of free fun motoring. It really does sort of bring the fun back into motoring that you lose in bigger cars that are less sort of convenient, I suppose. Now what I am planning to do is fix this roof, because you can then pull the roof back and remove these bars here as well, which make it even nicer in the summer. So yeah, but overall I think these are a great buy if you buy a good one, and you can buy it cheap. People spend thousands of pounds on them. I can see it if you're going to keep it long term. I wouldn't spend more than £2,000 on one of these earlier ones, just because you've got that engine longevity issue. Don't get me wrong, you can fix them. Mitzi wants a ride. You can spend a bit of money and keep them nice, but they do have a limited shelf life, and you will always sort of be thinking that in the back of your head. You can budget for an engine rebuild of £700 plus, or you can probably buy a new engine. But to be honest, what I'm going to do is, when this engine packs up, I'll go in for a 0.8 diesel, just because I like diesels really, and they do 85 plus to the gallon. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Won't we, Mitzi? She's doing some contortion stuff in the car there. You having a seat on that seat, are you? You say goodbye, Mitz? Good girl. Cheers.